Hey friends, welcome to 1 Minute with Monee. Balance doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen one intentional minute at a time. This podcast gives you the tools to make it happen. I'm your host, Monee, your favorite concierge and founder of Time Managed LLC. Join me each week for practical tips and real examples to help you manage your lifestyle with ease. Hello and welcome to the next episode of 1 Minute with Monee. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing Sheree Adams. She is a board certified nurse practitioner, and we're going to talk all things mental health. How are you?
Well,
Good, thank you. So, you have over 25 years of experience, and I want to know how you got started because your area of expertise is in functional
Mhm.
psychiatry, but you also still serve clients in a traditional space. But I want to learn how you got here.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here. So thank you for inviting me first and foremost. I have 29 this years of experience. I graduated from nursing school from the illustrious Tuskegee University in 1997 with my bachelor's and then getting increasingly curious and, several changes in life leading up to now. I am in the functional space as well as the traditional space of psychiatry, which means that I do your normal assessment diagnoses and treating, and then functional space, really deep dive, root cause, whole person approach. And I got here because there's a need. And I got here because I needed the help. And I say, I'm not alone. I'm not just one person. There's several of us. And I'm here to help.
I love that. I
Thank
love that a lot. And we're in January of
you.
2026 at the moment. And it's a time of year when we're all thinking about our health. And one of the things that I've learned over the past few weeks is about functional medicine in general. And it's been very interesting not only to learn about it from a perspective of insurance and what insurance is mandating its practitioners to do and the rules to follow, but then there's some freedom within functional medicine. And that is the word that comes to mind when I've talk to people who are practicing in a functional way. So, can you tell me the difference between functional medicine and psychiatry versus traditional
Okay.
on that approach?
Absolutely. And that's a great question because I have to lead with that so many times to explain use your benefits, or if your benefits have been exhausted physically and monetarily, and if you have hit a brick wall. So traditionally, you can use your insurance, and insurance is to keep you from dying, but functional medicine and psychiatry is to provide you with optimal living. The insurance aspect caps you with the amount of time they will reimburse a provider for spending with you. They will monitor and put a cap on the types of labs that they will pay for. And again, if you have a few minor issues, maybe that's the route you should go. If you are curious, if you have not gotten the answers that you need, if you have been told everything looks fine on paper, but you say something still is not right, that's where we need that freedom. I spend 90 minutes to 120 minutes with my patients in functional psychiatry, whereas I'm capped for a 60-minute visit. I have over 30 labs for my functional psychiatry advanced labs, whereas I probably can only do about 12 with traditional. And so that freedom is not just in the moment, but it's for your future self as well.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it sounds
Mhm,
like it.
mhm,
What was the moment where you had to figure out something different? Was something not working and
mhm.
you said something has to give?
Well, I started out with a postpartum depression that was overlooked because my symptoms with my first child were minimized and you're just tired. And I was sent back home and I did not bond well with my son. And that was devastating. And I didn't even know it was happening at the time. And then fast forward to my mother being diagnosed. I picked her up in the car. This is a story that I need to tell. I picked her up. I was in Philadelphia and I went back to Birmingham. I picked her up and I took her to Mayo Clinic in Florida because she wasn't getting answers. She was turned away from all kinds of doctors because she kept saying something's not right. We went to the Mayo Clinic and she was diagnosed with this idiopathic Parkinsonism. Long story, fast forward, she began naturopathic care, functional medicine, and I want to credit that area of medicine and healthcare to me having the time with her that I had. And I think she would have been gone long before that. How that equates to me is forever, I felt like I had something going on with me. I was always tired. Rheumatology, nothing's wrong. Primary, nothing wrong. Then I decided to go the naturopathic and functional route, and I realized that I do have some autoimmune, but I could reverse, and I have reversed a lot of the symptoms that I've had in fatigue, pain, joint pain, restless nights, feeling bloated, feeling inflamed, and all those things have been reversed for me. And so in the functional psychiatry space, we do the same thing. Anxiety, mood disorders, depression, anything, restless nights and sleepless nights, you can definitely get all those things reversed in the functional space. And so I said, I did it, my mom did it, and I'm ready to help my people.
I love how you took your personal experience from your mom to yourself to then use that to motivate
Mm.
you to help your clients in a different way.
Yeah, yeah. And I treat people from all walks of life, but I created a system which we can talk about a little bit later for a specific population of people.
Okay, that's good. Good, good. When people hear the word integrative, they think supplements and you're just replacing medicine with herbal supplements. How does it really work when you think
Okay,
about
so
integrative care?
okay, thank you. Great question. I love all these great questions. So, integrative means pulling all things together. And there's so many facets to functional and holistic whole person approaches. Gut health. Gut health is super important because 70% of your neurotransmitters, your serotonin, are created in your gut. Why is that important? Well, what do we have here in America? We have lots of preservatives, we have lots of pantry, shelf stable foods, and anything with a long shelf life shortens our life. We need fresh foods. We have all sorts of magnesium deficient soils and a lot of pesticides to try and antibiotics and all those things. And so that makes us ill because you can't cook all of it away. And with improving gut health, that is something that we do that doesn't require all the time a supplement, but sometimes we have to put back the right type of probiotics. That's one thing. Supplements are necessary if you are depleted. If you
Mhm.
have a deficiency or an insufficiency, we will use those. Adaptogens like ashwagandha, L-theanine, lemon balm, those things are helpful, but they're not always needed. So sometimes it is lifestyle modifications, reframing your rituals, introducing new rituals, and just looking at the labs and seeing exactly what you need. It's not always replacing your prescription bottle with a vitamin bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk a little bit more about the probiotics and
Mhm.
prebiotics because you can pick up a bottle of probiotics and take them. I mean, I take some. I may not be taking the right one, but I know, I know. And I've heard about it, but I don't think I've done the due diligence to just make sure that my body needs certain probiotics or prebiotics.
Yeah.
So my question to you is what are the different types of probiotics that our body needs and how do we determine what we need? Is it a lifestyle change or is it a vitamin or a probiotic that we can get off the shelf that we should take?
Great question. Well, anecdotally speaking, yeah, I'll say scientifically speaking, 20 billion of a cluster or a broad spectrum from lactobacillus, Saccharomyces, or bifido. If you have that great spectrum of probiotics, that's great. It's
Mhm.
just like, I'm going to catch it all. If you do something targeted, saying, I have IBS symptoms, I'm really having a lot of nausea, I'm having a lot of constipation or diarrhea, then you can get what we call a GI map. And you would think, well, in psychiatry, why are we doing a GI map? There are no degrees of separation of your body, are there?
Mhm.
So we do a GI map to see, oh, what is causing the brain fog?
Yes.
A leaky gut, which means that the toxins in our body from our gut are leaking into our system, causing brain fog, cognitive fog, and the inability to remember why we went into the kitchen. So, when we do a GI map, you get this beautiful color coded breakdown of you need this probiotic, you need this probiotic, you need this type of probiotic, or you need the garlic pill, which I'm taking right now, to try to get rid of candida. And
Mhm.
candida overgrowth is a big thing in our population too, because hey, and at our age we want to drink some wine, and that wine, that's sugar, can turn into yeast. And it's a whole gamut. So we can talk about it. We just need to set up some time and find the right
Right.
provider.
Provider, get to the root cause of it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you brought up candida because that's tied to yeast infections in women. But I've learned recently that it's not always the same type of bacteria or yeast in your body. And so if your doctor is prescribing you a pill to take care of the yeast, but that's not the type of overgrowth that you have, you can be at a disadvantage and have these chronic yeast infections and not really solving the problem. Do you work with a pharmacy that creates formulas specific for your patients that can create what they need based on that GI mapping that you
Mhm.
do?
Yeah. So I work with a gamut of individuals from functional medicine, practitioner, neuropathic doctors, compounded pharmacy reps, compounded pharmacists, regular traditional internal medicine providers, as well as OBGYNs that have fellows in obstetrics and gynecology. With that being said, I consult anybody if I don't understand. And the GI mapping is set up by a company called Designs for Health. And if you take a stool sample and send it back, I have to order it for you. You send it back, and I collaborate with the rep, who is also a physician. And they tell me everything that I need to know, and I translate it to you, knowing more than what they know, and I pull it all together.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of it. And with me being a STEM person, and I go down these neurodivergent rabbit holes, and I'm just like so excited to get this data. I bring it to
Yes.
you, and we make it work, and you start to feel better.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right. I'm a little bit of a data geek too, so I love panels
Yeah.
of information about myself, whether it's blood work, which you just mentioned. I may try that
Mhm.
because I want to know, I want to be here for a long time for my children and my children's children.
Right.
I want to make sure as my husband and I move into the season of being empty nesters that we have the vitality and the energy
Absolutely.
to sustain our love,
Absolutely.
right? To travel, right?
See the
And
world and be able to walk,
be able to
because
walk,
some
yes.
people can look beautifully, but they can't remember who you are. And in the transverse, some people can remember who you are, but they can't make it across the room to greet
Mhm.
you.
Right,
We
right,
deserve
right.
both.
We do absolutely deserve both. Now, I know we're here to talk about mental health, and it sounds a lot like medicine, but like you said, your body is not separated from your mind, so both are important. What advice would you give someone who is taking that first step to take care of their mental health at the beginning of the year?
What would I tell somebody? I would tell them that, again, our mind and your body are not separate. So just like you have annual checkups, you need to have a check in with yourself. And even if you have these feelings or core beliefs of, I don't need a psychiatrist, or I don't need a psychologist, or I don't need a shrink or a therapist, you can do both. I also want people to do this thing called 3-minute check in. I tell my patients and my clients, I do consulting, so I call them clients, but if I'm licensed with you, you're my patient. How is my mind? How is my body? What do I need?
Uh-huh.
You need to do that check in. And sometimes you do need something and you don't know what it is. And that is fair. But if you know you need something, that means that that requires a little bit extra time for you to pay attention to it and go,
Mhm.
where is this coming from? I need to know. So the curiosity about yourself, what you need, how it shows up, whether it's pain, whether it's feeling restless, whether it's feeling sad, whether it's the lack of sleep, you need to pay attention to it because your body's trying to tell you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start doing my 3-minute check-ins. It works. One of the things that comes with the new year is a pressure, and I'll use that word lightly because I don't think everyone feels a pressure
Mhm.
to plan for the
Mhm.
year. But we're at this time where, you want to set your goals. You want to reflect on the goals that you may have achieved in the previous year and figure out what to do with what you didn't achieve and maybe add some stuff on top of it. So I actually haven't done my planning for the year because I just haven't felt up to it. Not for any particular reason, but I want to make sure that I'm in the right mind space to think in that way. I know there are some big milestones that we have this year and I am focused on those,
Yes.
but to sit down in that quiet time to lay it all out, I haven't had the energy to do it, and I'm
Mhm.
not in the right mind space to. Do you find that some of your patients and even those that you may encounter might feel the same way? And how do you encourage them that that approach is okay?
We're kindred spirits. That's all I gotta say. And I'm so happy we're here together. When you say these things, I don't know if you see it, my face was lighting up. From the time we end daylight saving to the time it ends and we get back into having more sunlight and the rebirth and spring and flowers blooming and leaves on the trees, that's the time to sow.
Mhm.
It's a time of reflection and introspect. A calendar year should not dictate a pivot and more energy when the lunar speaking, we need to be slow.
It's the darkest
It's the
time
darkest
of
time, and we need to follow that, and we need to use that as a guiding light,
no
no
pun
pun
intended.
intended. But it's really important that we understand a January 1 doesn't mean go rush to the gym if you haven't already been. January 1 doesn't mean, "Oh, I have to stop and pivot." If that is your motivation, that's fine, but that's a lot of, I would say pressure. You don't wanna use that word, but I say
Okay.
pressure.
It is if it's
It's a
pressure, let's use the
lot of
word, right?
pressure that is unwarranted and unnecessary. We will be rebirthed again when we have more daylight to do things that bring us joy and that are fruitful, and we get to reap from this time. So it's time to do more journaling.
Mhm.
Then when it's warmer, we'll get outside,
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
no rush.
No
No
rush.
rush.
Thank you for that. Confirmation.
Absolutely.
And I also have thought lately that I've been hibernating more.
Mhm.
And here in Georgia, we had the fake storm last weekend. So I slept so much. And it was so nice, even though I did have plans for that weekend. It was nice to nap, you
Yeah.
know, wake up. I think I took a shower and got back into a different set of pajamas,
Mm.
took a nap, got up, like cleaned my room, put on TV. I may have worked out that day. I don't even remember, but it was just a day of in and out of the bed
Mhm.
and still being a little productive, but productive at my own
Right.
pace. And after that weekend, I said, this feels a little bit like hibernation. I
Mhm.
was kind of forced to be in the house because we were being safe, but it likely was what my body needed that time and went back to work on Monday, although I didn't want to virtually. I felt refreshed and renewed.
Mhm.
And I like this pace. I like
Mhm.
easing into the new year. I eased out of 2025 with the intention of coming back into jumping into
Yeah.
2026, but I'm
Yeah.
still kind of on that easing into the year and,
Yeah.
going with the flow. January has been the longest month of the year. Or what do they say? This
As
has
long
been the
as long
longest
as
January has been the longest year ever.
ever, ever, for so many reasons.
For so
That's a
many
form of
reasons.
self-care. What you described is your idea of self-care, and you honored that.
Mm.
You didn't fight it by, "Oh, I'm being lazy. I said I was gonna do that. I've been putting this off." It will still be there, and I'm sure you will give it your attention with the energy that you have conserved and preserved by resting.
And I pray the outcome of it is going to be even better
Even better.
than what it would have been if I would have forced it.
Yeah, on fumes.
Mhm,
Yeah.
on things. So you have something called Serenity Reset. I would love to learn more about that and how it came to be.
Okay. Well, Serenity Reset is a program that I designed with a woman like myself in mind, Black, neurodivergent or not, but when we do have ADHD or obsessive compulsive disorders or any autism spectrum disorders, or you're overachiever, period. You're a high achieving Black woman and you're in this pyramid of pause state. You are tired, you are burnt out, you are, depending on how many roles and hats you have, you could be a wife, a partner, a mother, an employee, a daughter, a caretaker, CEO, president, and you are tired. And this is a stage of life where you need serenity and we need to stop and we need to reset. That's the name. The program is created to touch all the pillars of gut health, hormone imbalance, getting good sleep, getting your mood in check, and making sure that you have what you need to go forward with peace. And it's hard to find in a traditional setting. I don't want this to feel like I'm knocking traditional medicine or psychiatry because there is a space and a place for all of us. However, Serenity Reset is that deep dive that we need when the data you get is everything looks fine, but you still know it's not. So it's an exciting program that takes dedication and consistency. And I'm a big accountability person, knowing that anything new can be scary and ditching old ways can be a heavy lift, but with the right person like myself coaching you and assisting you along the way, guiding you through it, and having lived this experience and I'm almost at the other side. It's a lot better. It's a lot better. So I stand beside it, and what I say is, I help you regain vanity, sanity, and sleep in 90 days without sacrificing your future self. So without any harmful medications, anything that's going to cause any neural damage, anything that's going to be harmful to your body. the most natural way to honor your whole body system.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, is this on an individual basis or is this a group program that you take women through?
You asked the best question. So it is a one-on-one experience.
Uh,
What I am realizing is some people may not be ready to make such investments, or they may not be able to make such investments because, like we said before, it's not covered by insurance. I'm looking to do more group work. And
okay.
group not only helps people normalize what they're feeling, it can create sense of community. And there can
Yes.
be a growth of friendships from that, which
Mhm.
is where we want to go. We want to
Mhm.
feel like, okay, so I'm not the only one that's feeling like this, you know? So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And even in all those roles that you mentioned, whether you are caregiving for your parents, your children, you're a CEO of your home or the CEO of a corporation, you need
Mm.
friends. You need a community. And to have a moment to understand how to balance all of that, but then be able to rely on a community of women who are going through the same things and are practicing the methodologies that you teach in order to get to the other side. And that, that serenity reset, I think that is triggering in a positive way because serenity means peace. We all want that peace. Yes, you're exhaling. There's peace. And to reset, that is oftentimes what we need, whether we are intentionally being reset because of our own decision or if it's because our health is
Forced.
making us sit down and we're forced to make the reset.
Yeah.
We would likely
We like to
rather
be
we wanna
voluntary.
we wanna be in control of our own
Absolutely.
reset.
Absolutely. We can't control our future, but our habits that we create can shape where we go.
If someone is overwhelmed today
Yeah.
and they want to start on that path of reset, what is step 1?
Ooh. Step one is to, I hate to sound so harsh, and it is, I'm simplifying it and saying it, but I'm going to explain it like I do everything. The phone. It cannot be the first thing that you pick up and look at. 'Cause some people don't even know if their legs work and they're picking the phone up and they're looking at things. You're checking email or you're checking social media, and that phone is triggering to the brain because it sends a signal. We hear sad news, we read sad news, we break appointments, we make appointments, we cancel appointments, we get death news, we get alarming text messages. It's chaos on that little
Mhm.
device. And so the moment we pick it up, it sends a signal to our brain. So if that's your alarm, that's fine. Touch it, but don't look at it. And go about your way of introducing whatever calmness you can cherish in that moment away from the phone. Tea, coffee, The Artist's Way, which is a great book, journaling, showering, burning incense, listening to sound bowls, whatever brings you peace, prayer, meditation. But the moment you pick up the phone, you're introducing that chaos. And it may not be, all the things that we think about when we think about chaos, but it is, because if you're working and you have your work email, that's chaos. If it's looking at, oh, I forgot so and so left their instrument at home, that's chaos. And you got to go take it to the school. And then at night, same thing. Put the phone down way before you get in the bed, because that same breaking news will be broken when you pick it up again.
It's not gonna
It's not going to
change.
change. That breaking news is still going to be broken. I want people to understand that your brain is still scrolling. If that's the last thing you had in your hand and you were doing before you went to sleep. I love analogies. I love illustrations. Trying to stop a Mack truck or a 18 wheeler on a dime. It's the same thing. You need time to stop and decompress. Breathe. We are an anxious society and we don't breathe. Feel your body sinking into your bed. With every exhale, you sink deeper into your mattress,
Yeah.
and close your eyes and just feel the coolness of the breath coming in and feel the warmth of it miraculously going out.
Mhm.
And so we can start with the phone.
Okay. Start with the
The
phone.
phone.
And there's so many features on our devices that allow us to do that. So
Mhm,
putting your
mhm,
phone on do not disturb. You can set limits for your social media. You can put an auto request on for certain types of music to play when you wake up
mhm.
or a meditation. And when we have our children and we are waking them up for the day, we don't wake them up with chaos. We wake them up, we might sing to them, we cuddle and hey, sweetie, right?
Yes, me too a little. I still do that.
And the same
Yeah.
thing when we put them to bed. They have a nighttime routine, whether it's a bedtime story, a bath, more cuddling.
Mhm.
When as adults, we don't do that same thing for ourselves. So if our children deserve and get that same level of love then we should love ourselves just as much.
Definitely, definitely. I like that.
And I listened to a meditation a couple weeks ago, and it was so wonderful. I think it was the best sleep that I had in a very long time. Peloton. And he said, just like we invite relaxation to our bodies, invite relaxation to your mind. And that is how I went to sleep. I woke up with my earbuds still in
In
my
your ear,
ear.
yeah.
And then, like
Yes.
I said, it was the
Mhm.
best sleep I had because when you hear that prompt and you do the action that he's describing, it literally invited a
Mhm.
relaxation that I did not know I needed
Yeah,
to sleep
yeah.
well that night.
One of my favorite Peloton meditation instructors was Ross, and sometimes I would just go, "Now, how did that little girl what happened to the little girl?" Because I would fall asleep with his voice, and I was like, "They don't know what happened to that little girl." It's a beautiful thing. You fall asleep, and that's some good sleep too.
It
It's
is
usually
really
time.
good sleep. Very good sleep. That is what I mean, we deserve
We
it.
do.
We deserve
We
it.
do.
So I hope that those who are listening are willing to take that first step. And it is big because we are
Mhm.
tethered to our phones. But if we make the small sacrifices, the benefit of it is
Mhm.
going to
Mhm.
be beneficial.
Absolutely,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
good. Once we take the first step to our reset and we realize that we may need better care and we're not getting what we want from traditional medicine or traditional psychiatry, how can we get in touch with and find someone that will give us the time and attention that we need?
So, if you've tried the traditional route, whether it's medicine or psychiatry, you can always, if you've established a good relationship with those providers and you don't want to steer away from them, you can ask them about specific labs that you've heard would be more investigative and you really are experiencing some things that you want some answers for. Most providers welcome a curious patient, but not one who is just on Reddit or WebMD trying to become, their own physician.
Mhm.
But the curiosity matched with the presentation of symptoms that are still present is fair. And I
Okay.
think that's fair game.
Mhm.
If you reach a brick wall or you meet resistance in that area, you should look for naturopathic doctors or functional medicine, functional psychiatry, functional providers. Integrative is another word that is synonymous. And by all means, you will know that you're going to get that whole person root cause approach. And just being an advocate and not giving up because this is your body, your life, and you really only get one fair shot.
How can we find you? And if we wanted to work through your Serenity Reset program, tell us how
Okay.
to get in touch.
Well, thank you for asking. The name of my practice is called Unoia, EUNOIA, which means well thinking or a healthy mind. And you can find me at unoiastateofmind.com. I am on Instagram telling everybody all I can, screaming and with some humor, but some education, being that sister that breaks it down at L_Sheree, SHEREE _your psych and P. And that's on Instagram and on Facebook. And yeah, so if you go to the website, you'll get all kind of resources. I have a resource library. I even have some playlists. I even have some people that I really admire that are really doing podcasts as beautifully as you are with this information constantly giving you the information that you need to learn. If it's not right, we need to fight and keep going. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, if it's not right, we need to
We need
fight
to
it.
fight for yourself.
For yourself.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So I work with a lot of families, whether they're business owners, busy executives who are just that. They're
Mhm,
busy.
mhm.
And my goal for them is to help them to find balance and harmony in their life. What is as we wrap up, what is the one thing that you can tell people who are trying to get to that utopia of balance and harmony? And some people don't like to use the word balance, so I do say harmony because it's about everything working together.
Mhm.
Um, and just like an
Mhm.
orchestra, it
Yeah.
kind of fluctuates in sound when it's needed.
Mhm.
But with that said, what advice, what are some closing words that you'd like to have for an audience who is trying to find their balance and harmony in their lives?
Well, I would say that understand that self care is not about a spa day or just escapism. It is a biological need water, food, clothing, shelter, care of oneself, biological need. And sometimes it's all of the above. No matter what it is, if it's good for your soul or it calms your central nervous system, it makes you smile, it makes you happy, brings you peace. Let's do it. No, the word no, N-O, with a period behind it sometimes is a wellness tool. Nobody asks you if you say yes to things. Nobody said, well, why? But if you say no, they go, well, why not? It's a period behind it. It's a complete sentence. We have to be audacious in saying that. And it's not FOMO. It's just really the fear of hurting someone or not showing up or being asked again. But if you know that you don't have much to give, if you feel burnt out, you already were a long time ago. You're just acknowledging it. No is a wellness tool. And we have to utilize and use that to our advantage. The opportunity will come up again. You are preserving your energy. And if you are not ready to use that wellness tool, not right now is a great start. And you could ease into no. But I have my boundaries. So no
Yes,
is
setting
no.
no as a wellness tool. What a way to end this beautiful conversation. This has been such a pleasure.
It's absolutely. I've enjoyed my time with you.
Yes, so have I, and I know that my audience will benefit from what you shared, and hopefully you have inspired someone to think differently about the care that they're getting and also how they care for themselves. Yes, so
Thank
thanks
you.
again. And to you all out there, thank you for joining, and until next time, be well and be balanced. Thank you for joining me this week. Let's continue the conversation on social media at 1 Minute with Monee on all channels. Also, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Until next time, be well and be balanced.